Abundance Deep Dive, day number 10. And today, it was a great day. It was very grounded. I like grounded days. It's something that I can connect with right away. I can sink my teeth into. It's kind of normal. It makes sense right off the bat. So today we talked about resistance and how to stop the resistance. And before we get too far into resistance, I want to kind of define what resistance means to me and what it could mean for you. And I wrote down this note here, so I'm just going to kind of reference this bad boy here. If you are complaining, worrying, if you have distractions, excuses, if you are listing all of the crap that you are avoiding or draining you, if you're lazy or if you're half-assing things, there's usually resistance around that. So you are, trying to pull the wool up over your own eyes and pretend it doesn't exist. If there's any amount of that going on in your life, that's resistance. We can call it a bunch of different things, but you're not going with the flow. There's some kind of stuckness, whatever that means to you. So first part, I think, is admitting it, and then being willing to work through it and figure out what that is. Some people are just not, and if you're stuck and you just want to wallow for a bit, great, then do that. But how long are you going to do that? Or how long have you been doing that? And for some people, like for me, a couple of days at worst. Some people it's years, decades of fighting whatever it happens to be. I have a friend that has more bad days than good days, and I'm looking at it like, just surrender, like lean in a little bit. But I mean, everybody has their journey, right? So if you want to let go of the resistance, there's 3 main ways that Steve was so gracious to describe in ways that I could understand. The first is to surrender. So it's kind of like giving up, in a sense, quitting, and saying, you know what, universe, you win this one. I am not going to fight you anymore. I am not going to I'm out. I'm just done, and I don't want to do it anymore. And that can look a bunch of different ways. Sometimes it's burning a bridge. Sometimes it's a big, like, fuck you job, I'm just gonna quit. Whatever that happens to be, it doesn't have to, be this big dramatic thing, but for some people it gets to be angry. It gets to be this, the buildup, and it's just too much, and they explode. And they are just like, screw you, I'm done. That's also surrender. You don't have to get to that point. Sometimes it's just an easy, for me and my stained glass, I'm like, there's so many parts about this that I don't like, and the good does not outweigh the bad anymore, and I'm done. I don't want to spend any more energy trying to make this work. No matter how I spin this, there doesn't seem to be a winning situation, and it's not even a compromise at this point. I just don't want to do it. So just let it go. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes starting over, and whether that's everything's falling apart or, you lose everything, it's like, you know what, let the chips fall where they may. I'll deal with it after everything happens, after the dust settles. And sometimes that is the point. You're supposed to fall flat on your ass to realize that it's not going to kill you. And that's the lesson in it. And you just move on from there. It's also a different perspective. If you've put your life or a situation on a pedestal and all of a sudden you're flat on your ass, that's a totally different perspective and could be an amazing gift. So it's not always bad. The second part of it is recommitting, and the second option, rather. If you've decided to stay in your job because it's really good money, or you have really great benefits, or whatever that kind of situation is, where you've said, you know what, I'm gonna stick it out. There's too much good, and I don't really want the extra pressure of starting over. I don't want, all of the extra what ifs and wonder. That's fine, but own your choice. If you can't go in 100% and say, you know what, even though this doesn't light me up, even though this isn't my life path, I am going to commit 100% and give it my all and be happy about my choice and own it and just love this path. And if you are not anywhere close to that, if it's like, well, I could do it like 50%, you're still spinning in resistance. Nothing's going to change. So if you're going to stay where you're at, even though the situation isn't ideal for you, love it. Learn to love it and really own that choice and be proud of it. And if you're not, then you can make the third choice, which is renegotiate. So if the universe is handing you an opportunity that seems great, except that you have to compromise or have the expense of something else not working out. There's a person in the group that, for example, wants to pursue a career, but it's so controversial that it could jeopardize visitation with their child. So at what point, what do you choose? I'm going to choose my child and then let my career slide and let that heart-centered path just crumble? Or do I choose that and then not have my child? That's a shitty situation. There's no win, and you're going to have to sacrifice something in order to get what you want, which seems like total bullshit. So you can renegotiate it with the universe, saying, you know what, no deal. I want both. I'm worthy of both. I can do both. How can I have that? I need a better option. I need more options. Whatever that fits your situation, however the wording works for you, but this is not working, and I need an option that is a total win-win. So go back to the drawing board, universe, come back with me with a win-win. And surprisingly, that works so well. I've had that in personal relationships where this person is, so dead set on their perspective and their point of view, and it's either all or nothing. I'm like, no, it doesn't have to be like that. We can both win. So how about we just completely renegotiate the terms? How might that work? Like, we have the freedom and flexibility to create whatever it is that we want. As long as you and I both agree, then we should be good, right? And it doesn't have to make sense for anybody else either. So it feels like the more out there some of these decisions and choices can be, sometimes it feels like we have to sacrifice or completely, squish one thing to get what it is that we really want, but that's not true. So we can have everything. We just need to be very, very clear on what that is. It can also be a great opportunity to reset boundaries. So if you're having boundary issues, to say, you know what, in the past, I may have accepted that, but that's no longer going to work for me. So this is what I need. And being really, really clear. You can't be wishy-washy and be like, well, maybe I need this, and what do you think? That's not going to work either. So own your choice. And it doesn't matter which one of these you choose, whether it's to completely scrap it and surrender and start over, or you are going to renegotiate it, or you're going to learn to love it, whatever it happens to be. All of these issues become nothing with the last point that Steve was talking about, which is reinforcing the positive change in the positive behavior. It's like when we go to a seminar and it's a weekend event and you're just like pumped the whole time and everything's great and hold hands and sing Kumbaya with everybody and it's awesome. The energy is great, you're flying high, and you go home and you can sustain that for a little while until something happens, until somebody beats you down or slaps you with reality, or whatever it happens to be. You're changing, they're not, they're feeling like they're going to be left behind, or they're jealous, or they're concerned, whatever that looks like. And the fear and the doubt starts creeping in. And all it needs is just a little tiny little seed planted of maybe this isn't going to work, or maybe I am crazy, or whatever that happens to be. So Steve's advice was to, on repeat, if that potential of like that seed coming in is quite risky for you, and that you don't have a support system, 2 hours a day of positive reinforcement. So listening to audiobooks of people that you admire and respect that are personal development advocates, and whatever area that is. I mean, if you're struggling with time management, listen to one with time management. If you're struggling with self-love, listen to one that relates to that. And each guru kind of has their own version of whatever it is that they're good at. And mix it up. Maybe you have kind of a playlist. I've got a couple on YouTube that are private so that I don't have the judgmental people, looking at my stuff saying, okay, whatever, that's why she's so flaky. I just keep that stuff to myself, but I'm listening to it all the time. And it's kind of fun. I like to watch videos of it too, so I get to watch really, really old videos. I mean, Bob Proctor videos are friggin' hilarious, but they're so pertinent, and the information hasn't really changed. Just his haircut and his suit and his tie and his glasses, which are quite hilarious back in the day. But yeah, whenever you have time, right? If you're sitting in traffic, you can listen to it in your car. If you're going for a walk, you know, you can plug in your earphones and away you go. And keeping that constant all the time, so that when those seeds of doubt are starting to get planted by the people that mean well but are really not on your side, especially in the beginning, it doesn't bother you. It's like, you know what? I'm good. Thank you so much for your concern. I really appreciate that. But I'm going to keep doing this. And I get that you don't get it, and that's okay. Right? It is. It's okay. So that was day 10. For me, what did I have written down? A couple of things. Staying healthy and keeping that positivity on repeat. And yeah, I think that's about it. So I'd like to say I'm going to go cool down, but it's not really going to happen because it's going to be this hot for a while. So I'm just going to go and pretend it's not 40 degrees in my house right now. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Abundance, deep day, oh my God. Day number 10. It is very hot. I live just outside of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and it is beastly hot for our time of the year. It's like 10 degrees over the natural normal temperatures, and we're hitting almost 40, and it is too much. I do not know how you people handle it when this is like your regular temperature. I'm melting, and my brain is melting, so